So why am I buying an SL2 in 2020? Well, because now it's seen as something that's kind of old and outdated, but now normal people can afford it. So let's unbox the SL. It's a camera I'm hoping solves a lot of my issues with shooting for work, and it's got a few surprising features in it that I have not really seen too many people talk about. I haven't actually seen too many reviews of this camera online. This is not a review, it's just an unboxing. I'm not going to do too many specs. The specs are fairly straightforward and known, even just based on a first impression, just handling it for 10 minutes and only taking pictures of my dog. I've not used it at work or anything, so I don't know how it's going to perform in the real world or in the field, so to speak. But it was surprising, not just in its usability and features. It was surprising in how actually user-friendly it is, because it's not at all like an M240 or a M9 or an M10. It's not like an M at all, even though it seems like it shares the same sensor as the M240. The dynamic range is not the best. It's 24 megapixels, which is fine for everyone who's not like a professional landscape photographer. I did buy this used, but everything's there and everything's in great shape. And when you're buying a used Leica, it's a lot like buying a used luxury watch. You buy the seller as much as you buy the actual camera. I mean, there's a lot of concerns with it. One being specifically with the SL system, unlike the M bodies, the shutter doesn't stay down. It's actually an exposed sensor, and a full frame exposed sensor collects dust so quickly. It's ridiculous, especially if you're actually shooting it, taking it outside, if you're not just doing reviews or if you're just using it on and off as a hobby. This is, I mean, it's way like my Fuji X-T3, which is what I've been using for years, rather the Fuji X-T system. I've been using for years and years and years. They stay relatively clean, and they do all right. I didn't buy the Leica lens with it because it's insanely expensive. Unlike the Fuji lenses. The Fuji lenses are very cheap. They're small, they're decent lenses. But Leica glass is something else entirely. Whether you're talking about their SL or CL, the lenses are insanely expensive, and the lens, the Vario lens for this, the 24-90, is just way out of most people's price range. Even the used ones are not several thousand, but I think they're almost $4,000 just used, and it's a 24-90 variable aperture, and I want to go for that. I know the Panasonic 24 to 72.8 is also compatible because it's all the L mount, which is an open mount, and that's good news because I bought a Sigma lens for this. So standard stuff, I did open and look through this because I wanted to make sure everything was good. The battery was charged, I could turn it on and show the menu a little bit, but yeah, it's just your standard booklets. That's where the booklets go. Black foam, unlike every other camera or every other camera company I know of that has that white foam with like the styrofoam. This is like a very nice little foam. Not that anyone cares about foam in a review. Oh, so here it is. This is usually where the battery goes. This is a weird little insert here or cutout that seems unnecessary. I'm guessing maybe there was something else that was supposed to go in there that was not included, or I don't know. Anyway, I got this, like I said, it was used, but the strap is completely unused. Which what I don't want is, I don't want a strap that's got Leica scrawled across the top in big bold letters. I don't want that. Charger, yeah, I find the Leica charger is pretty decent. I like that they give you that 80%, so in case you're in a rush, you can grab it. 80%, I found, at least the M system, means you can shoot for 3 days. So yeah, I mean, basic standard stuff. Charger, a strap that I can't actually ever use, or don't really want to use because it's also kind of ugly, and by Leica standards, this is not such a good looking strap. But this is not a strap review. You get the little Leica goodie bag where you can put a spare lens or something in. It's a little dusty. I did open it earlier, and or maybe I got some dust into it when I was opening earlier. It's a power cord. This is what the battery came in. Okay, the actual SL is a little bit tight. So here it is. Let's take a look. Wow, that eyepiece really sticks out. It's like catching all the plastic. Sorry about the noise. That is the release button for the lens. It's not a very big mount. That's one thing that I've noticed about the SL. The mount itself is not that big. I think it might actually be as big as Sony's mount, which gets talked about a lot in terms of being too small and them having to make certain concessions to get around the size because it was originally designed for APS-C. I don't know if that's the case with Leica. It very well could be, because this started out as the, or at least it's compatible with the T mount. So I don't know. This thing is heavy. It is about the heaviest camera I've ever held. I've handled the GFX and stuff before, and this seems, without the lens, this should really have a medium format sensor inside of it and a bigger battery, to be honest. It's really, really heavy. So we've got these 4 buttons, and there's a lot that you can do with just these 4 buttons, because it's a single press and then a 1-second press. And a single press then changes the functions, or rather displays the functions for all the other buttons around it. So depending on which button you press, the other buttons and the functions work differently. It's really interesting. It's really cool. And it's very, very user-friendly once you get the hang of it. So the battery's already inside. It's not in the battery compartment. That's the battery release. And you have to push it in once and it just comes right out. I don't know what the battery life is like yet, but I'm sure it's all right. Yeah, right there. See, it won't come out. It won't drop out if you press it. Yeah, it's got a rubber gasket. So in spite of this camera being weather sealed, that mount, since the shutter stays up, which I can understand, shutters are very, very, very delicate. Sensors have a piece of glass in front of them that protects them. I can understand why the sensor is exposed. I don't like that it is, but it is exposed. It is what it is. It's a compromise. But getting the sensor cleaned is not that huge of a deal. Now this thing is, it's I don't think I have the biggest hands. I don't really have giant hands. I don't think so, but they're not small. But when I'm looking at it on the screen, I feel like my hands make this camera look smaller than it is. It's not. This is a very big camera, especially when you stick a lens on it. And I cannot imagine using it with the with Leica's Vario 24-90, as amazing and just stellar as that lens is supposed to be, or reported to be. I can't imagine using that lens on it, because everyone says that is among the heaviest lenses. But in terms of picture quality, right, you got to do what you got to do. If you're in a Leica system, you're in the Leica system, and they just have a certain standard. They have a certain set of rules. They have a certain user experience that people have come to expect, and they keep coming back and they keep paying. And now, unfortunately, or for better or for worse, that includes me. Let's turn it on real quick, even though I've unboxed it already. Let's just do a quick look at this thing. It turns on really fast. Did I? Oh, I think I left it on video. That's fine. You can change the displays for using this button. That's what it's programmed to. And I'm going to customize this layout to how I want it, because I'm very particular with how I like to shoot. I already changed just a couple things. First, I reset it, of course. The previous owner had it set up his way, but the first thing you do with a camera, you reset it. And once I did that, I assigned this to ISO, and that requires a 1-second hold. And you got your ISO, which is really, really fast how that works. It's a two-handed operation. That kind of annoys me. I like to have the ISO usually back here. Usually I shoot, I like to have the ISO on that wheel. I like to shoot manual. I expose from my skin tone, which is on the brown side, and I'm not gonna, if I expose for that, I'm not gonna blow out the skin or the exposure for someone who's lighter than me and for someone who's darker than me. It kind of works out. The files out of this, I have checked a couple of files out of the SL. They're a little bit tougher to work with than, something out of full frame Sony cameras, especially the more recent ones. All right, so let's continue the tour. We got this big SLR style hump. Now the EVF in here is something everyone raves about, and it's good for 2015, 16, 17, 2019 standards. It's pretty good. No, it's actually very good. I shouldn't say pretty good. It's very good. By the standards of something that's come out this year, it's good. It's not amazing. It didn't blow my mind, but it's very usable. It looks very good. It's easy to see. Magnification is good as well. You got the wheel up here. I assigned this to shutter, of course. It just naturally, that's just kind of how it seems to work. It lets you assign to the aperture and lets you switch them. So you've got like aperture and shutter, and then you set the ISO with the button. I still can't figure out how to change the direction, even though it lets me. And I get back out of the menu and I'm like, wait, it's still, I don't like the direction to change the aperture, but I'm sure that's easy enough to change. I love that this comes back this far and gets your eye and your face back off the screen here. It's actually not this matte. That is a Leica screen protector on it. It does not give you like a really, it drops the contrast on the screen a bit. It doesn't give you a very punchy image to look at, but I don't review my images that much anyway. If I've got something, I know I've got something. And if I don't, I usually don't have the chance to reshoot. It was missing a hot shoot cover, which I don't really care about. I'll just put another one in. And again, this is supposed to be a weather sealed camera to a degree. We're just going to take a really quick look at that L mount. That's one of the custom function buttons up here. That's really tight. That's like not bad tight, but like reassuring tight. Just a real quick look at that sensor and put that back on. I'm very, very cautious of my sensors. I feel like once this thing is exposed, it's just a matter of time until it's dirty, and you've got all sorts of when you shoot at smaller apertures, you're going to see all sorts of stuff on your files. The grip is very nice. It's very comfortable. It feels a little big, but I hesitate to say big because it's also good for balance, right? My finger can reach when I'm gripping it. As you can see, my finger does reach that function button, and at the same time, it's right there. I mean, it's kind of easy to operate. I just got to make a quick comment about the wheels and the buttons on this thing. They're just perfect. They're perfect. The previous owner had this camera for a number of years. He didn't shoot it that much, as you can tell by the condition. But I also feel like this is a camera you can shoot for years and it will still continue to look new. You know, I turn this on and off and I use the joystick and it feels like it just came out of the box. And that's also something I feel about the buttons on my Leica M240. I had a Leica X Vario, and all the buttons, dials, everything, it feels like day one, regardless of how long you've had them. Here's the LCD screen. Let me turn it back on. It kind of gives you that ready. I think it says Leica SL, and then it says ready. We covered the EVF. It's good. The back screen's okay, but I won't know what it looks like without screen protector. I'm never going to take it off. I just like them. You know, they just prevent you from breaking and scratching things. I have broken screens before, and getting them fixed is neither fun nor affordable. Yeah, but overall, man, just such a solid camera. I have a Sigma 24-70 lens with it that I'm going to slap on later, but I'm going to do an unboxing of that lens as well and then put them together. So hopefully I didn't ramble too much, and hopefully I mean, you're encouraged to go out and try this camera, because I don't see why people won't absolutely love this, because I've only taken a few shots with it, and I know I've found my system that I'm going to be using for work and my own personal use for a very long time, at least until the SL3 comes out. The SL2 becomes affordable to normal people, and I realize normal and being able to afford an old Leica camera, it's a relative statement, affordable, but in terms of what this thing used to cost and what it costs now used, yeah, it's a massive difference. But now that this is an affordable camera, I feel like a lot of people are going to be going for this, and they really should. They really, really should. It's made me very, very happy, and I chose this over the Nikon Z7, which is the next camera I wanted to try to solve a few headaches that I had with work in terms of having a full frame system to shoot stills with. Because the Fuji X-T3, I have to tell you, is still an incredibly capable video camera, and I love using it for video. For stills, it's good. It's very good, but once you get into Leica, it's difficult. It creeps into all the different aspects of your life. But yeah, this is the Leica SL, and thank you for watching.